So in this video you will learn about Promise.all and Promise.race method. This is the same code which I used in the previous video, and I want to make a small correction here. Instead of get employee code, make it get employee to be more specific, because this will give you an employee object, not employee code. So before I move into Promise.race and Promise.all method, I want to tell you about pre-settled promises, how you can create them. So here we are basically creating a promise object with the new keyword. In case you already know about the value, for example, I already know that there should be marks. So instead of writing this much code, I can simply put it like this: promise.resolve, and just cut and paste. Now we don't need this entire piece of code. We are done. Now save it, you'll get the same output. Okay, we need to fix it here. Just delete this part, save it. So this is the output. In case you want to reject a promise before you even start it, you can simply make reject here. That means all these promises will not be executed and you will get the error message. Just put it, it's rejected. And here we need a catch block to get that error. So it will be console.log and error. Save it, and this is the output. So these are called pre-settled promises, where you basically resolve or reject. Now we'll see an example of Promise.all. This method is only used whenever you have multiple promises and you're waiting for all of them to resolve. Let's see an example of it. So let's make it get user 1 and we'll return a promise object like this. We'll make use of set timeout here. Let's make it 2000 and we'll resolve it with the value of marks. Great. Just copy this, paste it 2 times, make it get user 2, make it get user 3, make it James, make it Peter, make it 3000, make it 5000. Now I want all of them to resolve first so that I can get their values. For this I'll make use of this Promise.all method, and it will take objects which are basically a promise. For example, this method is returning a promise, so I can simply use it here, get user 1. If it was like this, const p equal to, just copy and paste it here. I can also use it here like this, p1, p2, p3, whatever you want. But we are having functions here which are returning promises, so we'll use those functions. So get user 1, get user 2, get user 3. And when all of them will resolve, we'll get array of values. We'll simply console log those values. Just save it, go to browser and wait for it. Resolve is not defined. Okay, so I did some mistake here. It should be resolve and reject here. Sorry for that. Just copy, paste and paste. Now we are good to go. Save it, and this is the output. So if any of these promises, we'll simply call the reject function. It will go to the catch block. This then block will never be executed. For example, if I'll call reject here before the resolve, it's rejected. And now I'll make use of catch block here, and we'll simply console log the error. Save it. Now wait for 5 seconds and you're getting it's rejected. Now let's see an example of Promise.race, which is pretty much similar to all. In this case, we are waiting for all the promises to resolve, but in case of race, we are only waiting for one promise to resolve. We don't want other promises, so we'll get only one value. Just remove this part. Because this is resolving at 2 seconds, we'll not get these values, and we can verify this. Just save it, go to browser, and you will only get marks here. If I'll resolve it first, which is Peter, just remove this reject call. Now we'll get Peter because it is resolving in 1 second. So this is kind of a race. Who will do the job first? Rejection works pretty much the same in this case. So if I'll reject it, we'll never get this Peter, James or Marks. Just save it and you will see it's rejected. I hope you got the point how they actually work. See you in the next video. Have a nice day.